I sometimes wonder what relievers say and do during the game when they're just chilling out in the pen.
They got 3 hours to hang out.
They all have huge personalities. They're all kind of quirky and weird, right?
True.
Well, we got our relievers who are quirky and weird. Dan Plesac and Joba Chamberlain standing by. Guys, what are you talking about right now?
And Amziger, he's a weird dude, isn't he?
They're all weird.
Could you imagine if he were our manager? How about if Amziger was our pitching coach?
Can you imagine the talks he'd
I'd be
give us?
calling my agent out. I need out of here. Sitting in the bullpen, we're watching the game, you and I. You have any particular place that you sat and watched a game, sit next to a guy that you sat next to?
No, usually when you get down at the beginning of the year, you try to get your spot and you keep that spot. But other than that, you try to keep it as casual as you can down there.
We had a lot in common. We would come in. We were the kind of the troubleshooter guys, right? 7th, 8th, 9th inning. Starts get crazy. About what inning did Joba Chamberlain, the joke stop? You stopped looking in the stands, listening to music. When did Joba Chamberlain start going, okay, it's time for me to pay attention?
About the 5th.
Me too.
You would start getting going, see how the game is dictating itself, and you try to play the at-bat in your head. Okay, this is going to be the 7th. If there's a runner on, this may be kind of where I'm going to be. So usually the 5th, you start moving, get everything going, start stretching, and just to get mentally locked in. Physically, you can always get ready, but if you don't get mentally locked in, I think for me that was the hardest part, to make sure that I was mentally locked in.
You're waiting for that noise, right? That ring where you, and you know it's you, right? What's going through your mind? Like, you're anticipating, we're sitting out there, right? We can see in the dugout right now, Joe Torre's walking around, and you can tell that he's about to tell somebody to pick up the phone, and you know it's you. The phone rings. What's going through your mind?
Those butterflies?
Yeah,
you
right.
know, and I tell every position player, your opening day feel is what I feel every time I go to the mound. Just because you know that's your situation, but you hear that phone ring and you know that's you know it's your time to get into the game. So for me, it was those butterflies, and as soon as the door opened is when the butterflies kind of started to go away, when you had that run to the mound.
I always tell people, warming up, I was anxious and nervous. But the run out to the mound, and then when they handed you the ball, it slowed down. But it was the anticipation of the phone ringing, you take your jacket off, and that's when, to me, it was like it was going 1,000 miles an hour.
It feels like everything is in fast forward when you're warming up, and then as soon as the door opens, everything goes into slow motion. And as soon as you get the ball, that's when you're in your comfort zone and you go to work.
To me, sounds. I think, to me, like, people ask me, what do you remember most about sitting in a bullpen? To me, Yankee Stadium. I love the song, but I hated the song Cotton Eye Joe. Because when Cotton Eye Joe came on, I knew it was time for me to get Tino, Bernie, Paul O'Neill, Derek Jeter, and it was like, uh-oh, it's time. Did you have one of those songs that drove you nuts, like, oh, can't stand it?
Sweet Caroline.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline?
Every time I come in, I knew it was going to be a long inning, just because that song is so long.
Neil Diamond, he's a mellow guy too, right?
No, but it got under my skin, and every time I hear it still to this day, it's like it brings back flashbacks.
Okay, a lot of people don't understand this. 30 ballparks, 30 different mounds, 60 different bullpen mounds, because there's 2 mounds in each park. I always felt like in Fenway Park, the mound didn't seem 60 feet 6 inches away. It seemed closer because the backdrop was so close. I thought Wrigley and Fenway, it looked like the catcher was like 5 feet away from you.
Every stadium has that different feel, and when you feel like you're on top of the hitter is a great feeling. Fenway for me was the same way. Toronto was that way for me with the roof open. With it closed, it just felt like a different dynamic. I loved that mound, but with the roof open, it just felt totally different than with the closed.
I always tell people, the reason I love the mound in Toronto, in the dome places, because the mound was off, it was wet and soft, and you didn't slide and chunks didn't fall away, right?
And the best part about it was, even if somebody landed in the same spot, it was so soft that you didn't ever have to move off the rubber if you landed in the same landing spot.
Any quirks? I did the same thing. I took 3 pieces of bubble gum, rolled them up, put them in my glove, and stuck the ball there, right? And that glove and that bubble gum stayed there. If I didn't pitch for 3 days, right? Did you have any quirks like this? I'm going to put a ball in my glove. Was there anything that you did that don't touch my glove or anything?
I would always set my glove with it facing like this and my hat on top. So I knew in the 5th inning when I got my hat, I knew it was time to go to work.
Really? Mm-hmm. Greg, we're not a strange breed, but when you have to sit for 2.5 hours and wait for that phone to ring to go out there and put out a fire at home and on the road, Greg, that's why we're both nuts.
Hey, Job, did you ever use Diamond Dry in unique ways? Because Dan did one.
I did. Greg, you have to go there?
I mean,
where'd you keep the?
You have to go there, Greg?
I mean, you just backed the bus right over him right there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Sweet
Fenway Park.
Caroline.